2026 is starting, and I think there are many cool things coming with it for marketing operations. The main one topic of the time, I think, since the ending of last year is AI agents. I think we've been developing the infrastructure for AI agents for the last few years, starting with MCPs in the end of 2024. Last year, we saw a lot of companies providing AI web navigators that allow you to say things and to type things and have the AI navigating through your web and doing an actioning on it. So I think for this year, we're going to see the first AI agents in marketing operations really working inside companies and providing a lot of value. I think, especially by the second half of the year, they will get a lot of traction. I also think that AI governance will be a huge topic for marketing operations this year, especially because we have been developing a lot of AI processes embedded with AI for the last 2 or 3 years. They are each time more common, and we need some guardrails and some governance to be sure that they are not breaking, that go beyond human in the loop. That I personally think already not a great guardrail, but it is the one that is mostly used right now. Once we have AI processes that, for example, score our leads or generate emails individually for each lead, how can we be sure that those emails are high quality, they're not going against our brand, things like that? So we have to develop those guardrails and governance because we will not have a person reviewing every score or every email. So I think MOPS is really going to be a huge part of that. And finally, I think the third trend that I'm very excited for 2026 is the shift from a lead vision to an account plus buying group vision in the marketing and full sales process. Because if you think about it, it's not just the lead that makes a purchase usually in a B2B scenario, but the full buying group's a bunch of people that together decide what is the next best solution. So now we have the data and the analytics capabilities to really investigate those buying groups, especially with AI. So we'll be able to start shifting our logic to it, and this will have a huge impact on how we run our processes. So, for instance, does lead scoring really make sense? Should we be thinking more on buying group scoring? How will those buying groups be moving across our life cycle? How we'll evaluate the completeness of each buying group? And how we're going to do the handover from marketing to sales if we're not doing the handover from a lead. Imagine all the information that we're going to need to pass for BDR, for example. So if a buying group has 10 people from a company, we'll not be able to just say, hey, this was the last interaction that made this buying group MQL. We'll have to create ways that the BDRs can understand what this buying group is interested on, what were the recent interactions, who are the warmest leads in this buying group. And if we're talking about a human BDR, of course, because, well, there might be also AI BDRs coming this year that will be contacting the leads for us instead of human BDRs. And when they email the code email the lead, it actually might not be a lead that is reading the email. It might be AI that is reading, prioritizing, and summarizing the email for the people. So I think this is going to start to happen in 2026 too. We will have agents to agents interactions, and this will shift probably the way that we do content, because if we're talking to an agent, they will have a different response criteria, a different way to analyze content than a human, and marketing operations will also be in the forefront of that. So these are the trends that I'm mostly excited for in 2026, and that I think every leader should be thinking about.
Hi everyone, I'm excited to talk about what I believe is the biggest shift every go to market leader needs to prepare for in 2026. I think the biggest shift is not AI by itself, but it's the shift towards strong data foundation that will allow AI and AI agents to finally create real business impact. And here's where I'm coming from. For the past few years, everything in GTM has moved at full speed adding more tools, more channels, more dashboards, more pressure to do everything faster and prove ROI. But the truth many leaders are waking up to is that they're moving fast on top of weak data that usually creates chaos instead of results. So I think that in 2026, slowing down just enough to fix the foundation will allow you to move much faster in the future. So AI only as effective as the data foundation underneath it. If your account data is inconsistent, if your lead sources are messy, if duplicates flow everywhere, or if your lifecycle model is half manual, AI cannot help you. It will simply automate the chaos that you have. So I think the first shift is a mindset change. Before adding new technology, teams need to rebuild trust in their data. It means standardizing fields, aligning definitions, fixing routing rules, and cleaning up years of messy inputs and identify the sources of that messy input will be key to transforming your business. And I can tell you for sure, this is what separates high performing GTM teams from everyone else. The second shift, I think, is how people will start using AI. Until now, most teams and individuals have experimented with small isolated agents or even with chatbots that usually answers questions, or like experimenting with scripts to enrich records or create a model that will predict churns. These are all useful and will 100% accelerate your day-to-day tasks, but is still very limited. I think that in 2026, we are going to see more movement from individual agents to orchestrated systems. We can think about it as moving from a solo musician to a full orchestra that plays together. And to conclude, I would like to give of how this can look like for you and your teams. So think of one agent that will monitor CRM and will flag the missing data or incorrect data. A second agent can pick up those flags and start enriching or correcting that bad data. A third agent will then update scoring and routing, while a fourth agent will analyze the engagement and start recommending next best actions. And all of these will run quietly in the background with little to no human interaction. But in order to reach there, you'll need real architecture, CRM, map, CDP, product systems that are all together, and obviously the AI agents connected together. One last thing that is the most important thing in all of this is teams that collaborate with each other instead of working in silos.
I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what marketing ops professionals should keep in mind for 2026. I think that it is going to be another year of evolution at hyperspeed. And I do think that we're going to see a lot of development in technology, in the market, and in how we work as businesses and professionals within the space due to those evolutions and changes. I see the godfather of AI is still talking about how businesses won't see gains until they've ripped out workforce and put in AI in its place, that will be where the largest gains revenue-wise and for the business are to be had. But I think that the proof point is actually showing that it is not necessarily the full equation. We are not at a stage in which AI is capable at an autonomous level enough yet to fully replace headcount, staff, and functionality within the team, and that it is through AI acceleration with the right team that we're seeing the largest gains. So while I do think we will see AI agents joining the team, so to speak, I think it will be in a companion or wingman sort of role rather than as the leader or the driver of certain initiatives or the owner. I also think that those companies that are ripping out teams and headcount, or have done so. We'll start to be layering back in teams and headcount, maybe in different areas of the business, with the AI augmentation that we've layered in, either because it does need to be sidecar and it does need someone who's actually driving with the AI, or because AI has created scale in other areas of the business that require headcount to fulfill or service it. I think often when we automate, it can actually lead to larger teams or a need for more capacity, whether that is from additional AI or human headcount, to then cover the demand that comes out of that automation. So I do think that we'll see actually some hiring and some team expansion and growth in certain strategic parts of the business, and that is something to look out for. But that means that if you are looking for either a role or a new company, or to move within your current organization, that being not just AI enabled, but really truly AI activated is going to be more important than ever. It's going to be necessary for you to be able to work with AI, within AI, to build AI, and to know how to successfully manage AI within your flows, processes, and systems. Because if you don't, then that is where job insecurity starts to come into play. I really think that is a reality. The other thing that I see talked about a lot with AI, but not in the way that I wish that it was, is around data. Everyone's talking about how they need large amounts of data to run AI. But where I wish the conversation was going was, we need to form a new body within the organization around AI data governance and ownership, or data ownership and governance as a whole, whether it's being leveraged by AI or not. Data is an organizational asset, but it's not managed at an organizational level. It is managed as marketing data, as customer data, as sales data. And those silos, even though it's literally the same person or company moving through those various areas, lead to data discrepancies that can have massive impact on AI and down funnel results that are negative as a result of the data not being properly collected, managed, governed, processed, cleansed, not having rules and regulations around what data can be gathered, where it can be stored, why we're gathering the data in the first place. Is there a rule set for what can be added? Is there flotsam and jetsam? Is there data debt, accumulating inside of your system that is later going to have a potentially large exposure, a negative one for the company as a down funnel impact, because of the way it was captured and failed to be managed. So while I do think that data quality is a potential lever for growth, a lot of companies aren't thinking about guardrails before growth, or they're looking at guardrails as a reduction in their capacity for velocity as opposed to a slingshot, right? With data quality, there is that pulling back, there is that slowdown, there's that pause of, you have to pull everything back and look at it. But once you have it in a good spot, then that's the release, that's the buildup of the velocity to then have exponential gains. And so I'm hoping that organizations will start to take their data more seriously, not as a, oh yeah, we got to go clean up the database, sort of like known evil, but more so as a potential point of activation that can have a really strong outcome for the team in the business if it is actually attended to. I think we're also going to see the proverbial stuff hit the fan around the sort of end stages, if you will, of full integration of and utilization of ABM. We've been moving toward account-centric models and an account-focused go-to-market motion for well over a decade now. And our systems are still, person focused. Our processes and our metrics for tracking are still lead focused, at least at the beginning. And there isn't a strong or easy way to really move those systems over to be fully account focused. I think orchestration from an opportunity account-based level, buying groups, these types of things are having to be built in a very custom, manually constructed, plug it into a system that was never meant to think about the world in this way, especially where you have multiple products or multiple lines of business that might sell into the same organization. It becomes really, really messy. And so I think we're going to get to a place where that finally is the default, where we start to see stages like marketing qualified lead MQL come out of the funnel. And what we see go in is much more, qualified or engaged or at an account level, business ready, than just at the person level. The language will finally start to follow that. I think also we are at the place with AI where if we can make the shift fully, we can finally move away from reactive and into a more proactive place. So I think a lot of companies have been operating out of a reactive model for marketing and data structure. And I've been asked actually recently what I thought was the best or clearest way to tell if you're working in a reactive environment as opposed to proactive. And I think that the biggest indicator there is that you can't answer why without pulling a report. Why did pipeline dip? Let me check. Why did this lead prioritize? That's how the model scored it. Why are we running this campaign? Because it worked last quarter. Those are organizational responses to signal, but you can't actually articulate intent. And I think we're going to be moving this year in 2026 into a expectation from leaders that we are able to articulate intent and not just response. Reactive marketing and data organizations are optimizing outputs, leads, clicks, MQL. They're discovering the meaning of things after the fact, and they're letting tools define their priorities as opposed to defining their priorities and then picking tools that align with that. They're treating dashboards as explanations, not evidence. And data is used to justify decisions instead of to guide them. And I think when we get to a place this year where the expectation is that we will be guided by things and not retroactively be like, well, see, this says that I should have done that, so it was right. Kind of a luck of the draw sort of approach. That we'll start to see intentional design within business with AI for specific outcomes, because we're getting to a place that is less reactive and more forward-looking and more proactive. So I think those are some of the things that we'll see in 2026. There's a lot on deck. There's a lot of stuff I think that's gonna, net new come into the zeitgeist that's going to become almost old hat by the end of the year, and that we'll see a lot of those start to emerge in the next few months, which is exciting. But I also think that the reality is that the largest component here is going to be not around AI, but around managing people, processes, and systems around AI, and figuring out how to structure and create infrastructure that supports the gains that can come from AI, instead of just how to make AI happen in the business, or we have AI initiatives. What are we doing? How do we, meet that need or that criteria, or check that checkbox off? So moving away from leadership said we had to do AI, so we found this AI thing, to actual strategy alignment between business and AI coming together as a go forward.